expect it's been difficult to get on with life.
I'm fine, honest.
Get ready for your call to action. Hold tight.
We're with you as soon as we can.
London's Burning returns Sunday at 9 on ITV.
Keep calm.
Highlights of the Nations Cup snooker in half an hour, right here on LWT.
Clinton admits Lewinsky lies in last hours as president. Kilshaw's pledged to battle for a turn of internet twins. Diana's butler questioned about theft of her belongings. And victorious Henman marches on in Australian Open.
From ITN, the ITV Nightly News with Dermot Murnaghan.
Good evening. President Bill Clinton, who leaves office only hours from now, tonight bought himself freedom from any future prosecution over his affair with Monica Lewinsky. He put out a statement admitting that he'd lied about it, which was enough for the independent counsel, Robert Ray, to say he was dropping his investigation. Mr. Clinton also admitted breaking the rules in another sex case. That's costing him a $25,000 fine and the suspension of his law licence. James Mates reports.
The final day in office, and for Bill Clinton, there is to be no quiet walk into the sunset. To the end, he is dominating the headlines, bowing out with a deal that saves him from prosecution, but costs him $25,000, his law license, and a painful admission that he was deliberately misleading under oath. This afternoon, his official spokesman made public the confession of wrongdoing.
I tried to walk a fine line between acting lawfully and testifying falsely, but I now recognize that I did not fully accomplish this goal and that certain of my responses to questions about Ms. Lewinsky were false.
The special prosecutor, whose threat to indict Clinton for perjury once he left office had clearly shaken the White House, said he was now content to shut down his investigation.
The nation's interests have been served, and therefore I decline prosecution.
And with that, drawing a line under the most damaging presidential scandal since Watergate. Along with last night's farewell address to the American people, the Clinton years are truly over.
I'm very grateful to be able to turn over the reins of leadership to a new president, with America in such a strong position to meet the challenges of the future.
Though he did hint that perhaps we haven't seen the last of him.
My days in this office are nearly through, but my days of service, I hope, are not.
For George Bush at his first inaugural party last night, seeing the Clinton scandals go out with Clinton is good news, removing distractions, starting with a clean slate.
A new administration is an opportunity for change and a new direction. That is the promise I have made and a promise I will keep, to give America a fresh start.
Latin pop idol Ricky Martin was top of the entertainment bill and was determined the president-elect would be more than a spectator. And that was as far as a man who's known to hate dancing was prepared to go. Fireworks are heralding the arrival of a new regime, but even as they do so, the scandals and controversies of the old continue to dominate this city. James Mates, ITN, Washington.
So, James, relief for Clinton, but hardly a great way to end his presidency, I suppose.
No, not the way he would have wanted to go out at all. As you say, there is relief that he has lifted the legal jeopardy he faced of prosecution for perjury when he left office, and they clearly took that threat seriously or they wouldn't have done this deal. That's on the plus side. On the minus side, a $25,000 fine. He's losing his law license for 5 years. He probably wouldn't have wanted to use it, but even so, not great for an ex-president. And of course, this admission that in that original Paula Jones deposition, when he said under oath he had no relationship with Monica Lewinsky, couldn't even remember having been alone with her, he's had to say that he knew that that was a false statement when he made it. And what about the new administration? Could this overshadow Bush's big day tomorrow? It will certainly overshadow the big day in some sense. Certainly today would normally be full of talk about tomorrow's festivities. And the weather's doing that as well, because the forecast is absolutely terrible for Bush's big parade tomorrow. But on the other hand, he has got clear of the Clinton scandals before he takes office. No question now of him having to pardon Clinton, which did promise to be a big distraction in his first few weeks.
James, thanks a lot. Here, Alan and Judith Kilshaw, adoptive parents of the internet babies taken into Flintshire Council care last night, today promised a David and Goliath battle to get them back. The twins' future now looks like being settled in the High Court starting next Tuesday. Tim Rogers reports.
At the hotel where they've been staying, there was no sign of Alan and Judith Kilshaw tonight. Although earlier this afternoon they appeared tired and worn at a news conference where they said they're still determined to fight to have the babies they adopted back. But they won't resist an application to the High Court next Tuesday to have the children made wards of court. But Mrs. Kilshaw said the result of this affair is that they now want to find a new life.
Thanks to certain aspects of the press, we've been slighted that much that we cannot really remain in Buckley, and this is national. Where do we go in Britain? There's nowhere for us to go.
Last night, public concern about the way their children had been bought via the internet reached a climax when, after hours of talks in their hotel room, the local authorities decided enough was enough. The babies Belinda and Kimberly were taken away by police and social workers using emergency powers to protect the children and take them into care. They slept, apparently oblivious to the drama, and were taken out of the hotel to be driven to a temporary home with foster parents, their ultimate destination now uncertain. This afternoon, Flintshire County Council issued a brief statement.
The twins are safe and well in the council's care. Last night, in what was a careful, considered and proportionate response to the emerging circumstances, the council obtained an emergency protection order from a magistrate of the Flintshire Family Proceedings Court.
But the baby's removal brought only sympathy from the couple in America with a rival claim.
My heart does go out to them, and it does make me upset because I have nothing against them, and I can understand and feel the pain that they must be feeling.
Tonight, the Kilshaws appear to have made a discreet exit from the hotel where they've been holding media conferences for the last 2 days. The question now is whether they'll ever see the babies they adopted again. Tim Rogers, ITN, Mould.
Princess Diana's old butler, Paul Burrell, the man she called her Rock, was freed on police bail this afternoon after being held on suspicion of theft. He was questioned about some of the princess's clothes and a fabulously valuable wedding present. Colin Baker reports.
The Burrell house is in darkness tonight. Few in the Cheshire village of Farndon expect to see him or his family return home this evening. Paul Burrell's next public appearance, scheduled by detectives, will be at a central London police station next month. Earlier, the former royal butler was swept from the police station where he'd been held overnight and questioned about theft. He was brought here to Runcorn police station by detectives from the Serious Crime Squad in London after they'd searched his home in the early hours of yesterday morning and took away a number of items in bin liners. It's believed they're investigating missing articles of clothing belonging to the Princess of Wales and also the disappearance of a £500,000 wedding present from the Emir of Bahrain, later discovered in a Chelsea antique shop. For now, the man who bore his mistress's death with such dignity and who himself personified the depths of faith, devotion and loyalty must wait a little longer to find out what, if any, further action the police may take against him. Mr. Burrell, here with the Princess in Africa, was the one member of the royal staff whose dedication was unquestionable. He took pride in his royal nickname, the Rock, always there, always steadfast. Mr. Burrell, seen here when he left the Diana Memorial Fund, is now on police bail until an unspecified date in February. Colin Baker, ITN, Farndon in Cheshire.
The Siamese twin Mary, who died in a controversial operation to separate her from her sister, was buried today under her real name Rosie on the Maltese island of Gozo. Her parents, Michelangelo and Rena Attard, were close to tears as they followed her tiny white coffin. They hope to take the surviving twin back to Gozo later this year. A so far peaceful revolution is underway in the Philippines tonight, with hundreds of thousands on the streets demanding the resignation of President Joseph Estrada. Accused of corruption, he's been deserted by the police and the army and may already have gone. Harry Smith is following developments.
As dawn broke in the skies above Manila just over an hour ago, the crowds in the streets were still confused about who is in charge of their country. The deadline which the opposition set for President Estrada to resign has passed, with reports of a convoy leaving the presidential palace. But there's been no confirmation yet that Estrada has gone. Earlier, armoured personnel carriers moved in and out of the palace, adding further to the fevered speculation. The military appear to have turned decisively against his rule, siding with the vice president and other opposition figures who say that following allegations of corruption, President Estrada has no moral authority to stay in power.
We are withdrawing support from the incumbent president.
The defection of key military leaders has delighted the huge crowds gathered in Manila, who've been demanding the resignation of Estrada. His position now seems untenable. There are rumours that he may seek political asylum. His offer of elections was dismissed. That is too little too late for the opposition crowds, who insist on his immediate resignation and a quick transition of power. In a statement to the nation, President Estrada said he was sad it had come to this and again offered to hand over power to an elected successor. It leaves the Philippines in a state of political confusion. But it now seems his hold on power has collapsed. Harry Smith, ITN.
The future of Huntingdon Life Sciences, the drug testing company targeted by animal rights activists, remains unclear tonight. With very little time left, it said it was still in talks about securing new backing. Here's Philip Ray Smith.
Outside the gates of Huntingdon Life Sciences again today, a small but determined band of protesters, determined to see the drug testing company go out of business. HLS has until midnight to secure financial backing. Otherwise, the Royal Bank of Scotland could recall a £22 million loan. Scientists have warned that closure would prove a serious setback for medical breakthroughs.
If we stop research which involves animals, people who suffer from cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, AIDS, simply will lose hope for improved treatments.
Protesters also stepped up their pressure by picketing the Royal Bank's London headquarters. And as unions representing HLS workers threatened to boycott the bank if it did withdraw, the Home Secretary promised new measures to protect workers.
We are very actively considering strengthening the law to deter the terrible kind of intimidation and harassment that's been taking place at people's homes.
The Royal Bank of Scotland is tonight refusing to say whether it will call in the loan or not. But whatever its decision, the protests against Huntingdon are likely to continue. Philip Ray Smith, ITN.
The English Football Premiership will have a new sponsor from next season, with Carling today pulling out of talks about a new 3-year contract. Carling, owned by Bass, has sponsored the league for the last 8 years. Rival brewer Budweiser is said to have offered more money. Tennis and Tim Henman recovered from a worrying loss of concentration in mid-match today to get through to the last 16 in the Australian Open. The British #1 eventually beat Wayne Arthurs 6-3, 6-2, love 6, 6-2. Here's Peter Staunton.
Today it was Tim Henman's turn to impress in Melbourne. He was up against the London-based Australian Wayne Arthurs. The home crowd expecting a better show from their man than just 5 games from the first 2 sets.
No.
Arthurs was living up to his lowly ranking of 82nd in the world. Henman was looking forward to an early night. But 2 sets ahead, Henman suddenly lost concentration, as he frequently did a couple of years ago. He lost the 3rd set 6-love. There was a tense start to the 4th, but Arthurs missed his big chance. A break of serve was there for the taking, but he let Henman off the hook. After that, there were no more scares, and next up for Henman is a meeting with Pat Rafter, an Australian with a much more impressive track record.
These are the opportunities that you want to have playing in that type of atmosphere. It's going to be great, and I really look forward to the challenge.
But against Rafter, he's unlikely to get away with another lapse in concentration. Peter Staunton, ITN Sport.
The main headline again, President Bill Clinton, who leaves office tomorrow tonight, bought himself freedom from any future prosecution over the Monica Lewinsky affair with a statement admitting he lied. Tonight's financial figures, the FTSE finished very marginally lower, less than a point down. In New York, the Dow was down more than 90 and the pound is trading nearly a cent lower against the dollar. Now look at tomorrow's papers. And the Telegraph leads on government proposals in the new criminal justice bill to extend police powers of DNA testing. The picture shows George W. Bush dancing at an inauguration party. The Times leads on Clinton's last-minute deal to avoid being prosecuted after he leaves office. It pictures the funeral of Mary, the Siamese twin who died after being separated from her sister Jodie. The Independent leads on the internet babies, and its front page is dominated by a picture of crowds gathering to celebrate the downfall of the Philippines President Joseph Estrada. The Daily Mail says Judith Kilshaw tried to get her own daughter to act as a surrogate mother. The Express shows an unflattering picture of Mrs. Kilshaw with the headline, "Do the internet twins really deserve this?" And The Sun says that Mr. Kilshaw donated sperm for a surrogate baby as a favour to a friend of his wife. Before we go, a quick reminder that this news is moving back to 10 o'clock next week. The new ITV News at 10, starting on Monday, will be presented as before by Trevor McDonald. And I'll be moving to the ITV Evening News, which is staying at its regular time, 6:30. But that's it from the ITV Nightly News for tonight, this week, and indeed for good. From the entire team, goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Gas, electricity and telephone.
Good evening. All sorts of weather coming our way in the next few days. It's going to start off cold and wintry with some snow around for some places, lasting well into the weekend, and then a big change, turning wet and windy during the course of next week. But tonight most places are dry but very icy temperatures, generally below freezing. One or two freezing fog patches forming, especially in the west. Further east though, a scattering of sleet or snow showers. Heaviest on the high ground, several centimetres of snow quite possible, but most places dry, and that's the way we'll kick off the weekend. Dry but chilly, temperatures slow to recover, especially where those freezing fog patches linger into the day. The best of the brightness probably in the west, most of the sleet and snow showers towards that east coast, but one or two creeping well inland. Now at the end of the day we'll see the cloud thickening across western parts of Ireland, the far southwest. The first few spots of rain arriving here, and the wind picking up too, making it feel distinctly chilly. Temperatures everywhere struggling again. 2 degrees, around about 36 Fahrenheit, perhaps a little bit higher down in the far southwest. And then on Sunday things really start to get going, because as that rain moves its way eastwards, it'll turn increasingly to sleet and snow, especially up over the higher ground of Scotland, northeastern parts of England too. Several hours of snow and a very strong wind. Eventually it will turn back to rain, and eventually most of it will clear away, drying up and turning somewhat milder. Temperatures creeping up between 3 and 6 or 7 in the west. 7 is a much milder 45 Fahrenheit.
Power gen, gas, electricity and telephone.
Health hazards and nasty surprises.
You don't want the mice helping themselves to it before it's your turn.
Restaurants from Hell, Wednesday at 8.
She's a murderer. She doesn't look capable.
You don't know this well, Paul. You should try stepping outside the court sometimes. You'll see what really goes on.
He said nothing.
I took your advice. I did a grand tour of the red light district.
The guy's become a liability, Pat.
The Vice, Wednesday at 9 on ITV.
Blue Watch are back in a new series of London's Burning this Sunday at 9, but next, the news in London tonight.
Hello.
Every day, thousands of people join BT Talk Together and stop paying for local evening and weekend calls. You can join BT Talk Together for just £14.99 a month. That's only £5 extra on your line rental. Call us now on 0800 05 5555 and your local evening and weekend calls won't cost a penny. That's 0800 05 5555.
I'm not as young as I used to be, but I like to keep in shape. So I put in a few workouts when I can. This works up a sweat. A personal trainer's a real plus for me. This is tough. So is this. And if I have time for a snack, where better? I'm not as young as I used to be, but sometimes...
Holmes Place. A little effort, a great result.
Travelocity, the world's biggest online travel company.
The nation's favourite newscaster, Trevor McDonald.
Welcome to the new ITV News at 10.
Nobody does news better.
From the country's top reporters.
And still without it interrupting your movies, sport and feature-length drama.
The essential News at 10.
Now, a roundup of the late news in London and the South East with Felicity Barr.
Hello, good evening. A drunk businessman who killed a woman and her unborn baby has been jailed for 5 years. Andrew Drummond from Sevenoaks crashed into a scooter being ridden by Sharon Long and her boyfriend, then left them both at the side of a busy motorway. Miss Long, who was 4 months pregnant, later died. Drummond was twice the legal drink limit. Christopher Peacock reports.
In one senseless act, drink-drive businessman Andrew Drummond destroyed the life of a mother and her unborn baby in a hit-and-run road crash. He'd hit a Vespa motor scooter on the M20 while driving home to Sevenoaks. The pillion passenger, 25-year-old Sharon Long, who was 4 months pregnant, died 2 days later. Her boyfriend, who was riding the scooter, was stunned when he heard the judge sentence Drummond to 5 years imprisonment.
Well, it's an insult, isn't it? Basically, that's the way I look at it. I mean, he was looking at 10 years maximum. The way I look at it, I mean, they say they're coming down tough on drink drivers and that, but if they dish out lean sentences like that, it's... I mean, to be honest, it wouldn't stop me from getting in the car and running him down to get my own back. I mean, 5 years, it's nothing, is it?
Drummond had been aboard Eurostar returning from Paris and had been drinking wine. He was twice over the legal limit. His Vauxhall car careered into the Vespa scooter, dragging it 100 yards across 2 lanes of motorway. He left Sharon Long and her boyfriend lying by the roadside.
He's not shown any remorse, no regret, no nothing. I've actually got face-to-face with him in the courtroom and he didn't even say sorry or nothing.
Drummond did finally own up. When he realised the extent of the damage to his car, he downed 2 gin and tonics and called the police. But it came too late to save the life of a mother and her unborn child. This is Christopher Peacock for London Tonight.
Thousands of parents in South London will take to the streets this weekend in protest at plans to house paedophiles in their community. They've accused the Home Office and the Probation Service of putting their children in danger, with plans to open a hostel for sex offenders in Balham. The area, dubbed Nappy Valley, has more than 50 schools and nurseries within a 2-mile radius.
These people are dangerous. We're all, educated, and we know that it's a threat to our children, and there's a huge ratio of children and mothers, and we're not having it.
A man has been arrested this evening in connection with the murder of 67-year-old Carlton Spide. Mr Spide's body was found following a fire at a flat in Bob Marley Road, Brixton on Monday night. A man in his 40s is being questioned by police. Ken Livingstone's plan to bring in congestion charges for motorists have come in for more criticism. A survey carried out by Westminster Council has shown that 56% of those polled are against the idea of a £5 toll to drive into central London. 40% of businesses claim a road charge would force them to relocate, cut staff or close sites. All Londoners have 3 months to give their views on Mayor Livingstone's proposals.
What we want to achieve is we want an improvement in public transport. It's no good the Mayor saying it's going to happen later on in the far future. We want it before there's any form of discussion about congestion charging.
The last remaining pigeon food seller in Trafalgar Square has defied an order banning him from trading. Bernard Rayner set up his stall under the threat of eviction today, 24 hours after his licence to sell feed expired. Mayor Livingstone's controversial policy has met with international condemnation. Yesterday, a glass of water was hurled over him by an animal rights campaigner at a press conference marking the end of his trip to America. And finally tonight, the truth is out there, but who would have thought it would surface over Reading? One Berkshire resident got more than she bargained for when she went out for a few shots of the garden and captured a UFO. Or did she? Judge for yourselves. Well, aliens permitting, that's it from us tonight, but we will be back tomorrow at 1:05. Good night.
The weather, sponsored by Bupa, for a healthier outlook.
Good evening, it's another cold night out there. Temperatures well below freezing in most places, 1 or 2 snow flurries. Some mist thrown in for good measure. So a pretty icy start to the weekend. Still, the odd sleet or snow shower dotted around, but a lot of dry weather with some sunshine if you're lucky, but it's not going to help the temperatures at all. Again, struggling to get much above freezing, 1 to 3 degrees, 37 Fahrenheit. At least the winds will be fairly light everywhere. Big change on Sunday. Wet and windy, starting off as sleet or snow in some places, eventually turning to rain and becoming a bit milder. That's it from me. Here's a summary.
Saturday night, 5:55, Top Stars. And as the dream gets closer for some, for others it couldn't be further from the truth.
The rules clearly state 18 to 24.
I'm sorry, Mum. Then it's over to Scylla for something very, very unusual.
At last, a couple that get on.
At 7:55, more hopefuls are only 15 questions away from the magic million. And with Des O'Connor face-to-face with some famous friends at 9:10, that's Saturday night on ITV.
Russ Williams and Steve Davis present highlights of the first semi-final of the Nations Cup. Snooker in just a moment.